Not the computer? I think, I think it's better to do it to the computer,
What do you mean?
recording to the computer.
No, it's cloud.
Yeah, are you sure?
Mhm.
Okay. Where does it go after?
My account.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to download it after? Okay.
Are you recording on the?
I'll do that right now.
Tomorrow, one more check. Can you hear us?
I hear you.
All right, thanks a lot. All right.
Ready to go?
Yep.
All right. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to be here and happy to see everybody here. My name is Justina, and I'm the founder of Women in Blockchain Canada, and I'm joined here by Justin Goldston. Hey, Justin.
Hi, Justina.
All right, so. Okay. There we go. So who we are, so I founded Women in Blockchain Canada in 2019, and Justin is the founder of SydTek DAO. And we've been collaborating in the last couple of months doing educational workshops together, specifically related to Polkadot, and we hope to expand on doing that on other networks as well. We also taught a Web3 class together. And just to give you a little bit of,
See here. All right.
one moment.
Pause.
Good catch though.
Why did nobody say anything?
I was looking down at the screen.
How do you share? How do you share like on another?
One moment. Maybe under preferences.
Where is it go?
There he is. Is it fixed now? All right. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
How do I make it just the entire screen? All right. There we go. So we will be sharing this presentation afterwards online if you want to look up our information, quick bios on us and what you missed the slide earlier, but we will also be providing the information on how to reach us if you need to after the event. So anything presented in this presentation is not financial advice. And what we'll be covering today are a couple of topics. So we'll be doing introduction to substrate, parachain, and the parachain lifecycle. And then what we'll be moving on to is how do you set up a wallet, a Web3 wallet. So for those who may not know, but I assume most of you do, what is blockchain? Well, it's an immutable ledger that is decentralized. And what are the benefits of it? Well, it's transparent, secure, immutable, decentralized, and low cost. And what does that mean? And how do we explain it in simplified terms? Well, if we're all sitting and having dinner and also having drinks together, and we started making orders, and at the end of the night, the waiter came to us, if we're all taking the information down ourselves, and there was any discrepancy between what the waiter told us at the end on the bill and what we all recorded, we would know because all of us would also be recording that information. So that's the simplest analogy that I know to use to explain the concept. But essentially, the data on the blockchain goes from block to block to block, the hashes, and that means that every time there's a new block that's created, it actually becomes more secure. Because in order for you to prove the next block, you have to have all the information of the previous blocks. So why Polkadot? Why are we discussing Polkadot today? What issues does it solve? Well, for those who have been in the space, you may be aware that one of the biggest issues in the space is actually, people have already created blockchains, but they may not all work together. So interoperability is a big issue, but another issue that exists in the space is scaling. For some of you who may have used Ethereum, you may know how high the fees are now and how much proof of work costs versus proof of stake. So it's really interesting. How are you able to provide security on a blockchain? How are you able to provide interoperability and scalability? And that's why we chose to discuss Polkadot, because it does solve some of these issues. It's interoperable. So if I'm doing a transaction on Ethereum, but then I want to do something on Polkadot, these two, it allows for those two blockchains to talk to each other. It's scalable. So because it's a fully sharded blockchain, it allows for the transactions to be very cheap, fast, and efficient. And basically, it's also secure because if you have one full node running the network, you can't really be having fictitious information on that blockchain. Energy efficiency, as some of you may know, there's a debate and issue with how much power is used in proof of work systems. And basically, the other thing that's really interesting about this blockchain is governance. So the thing is, as you may know, whenever people disagree on different blockchains, these people end up taking the entire blockchain, copying and moving over and create another one. Because it's difficult to agree on things while you're using the system and then have the system update itself. A lot of these systems weren't built to have these updates. So one of the things that actually Polkadot does is it allows for the users to vote on chain and then actually make the change live. So let's say that 1 month, everybody has to stake 80 DOT to become a validator, but then the price of the DOT fluctuates and now the community agrees, well, we all actually want 120 DOT to be that amount because the dollar value has changed. Then we can have that update made. And because it's basically this isn't like a computer where it's stored on your computer. This is a computer that's running on different computers and it's actually live. So once you make the update and it's live for the entire network. So that's also a very interesting thing about Polkadot is the governance structure that's on chain. And all the users after that are affected by it after they've agreed on it. And so we'll get more into that later, but so what is Substrate? Well, Substrate, to give you an example, is like a library. A lot of people already spend time building blockchains, making them secure, doing different things. Well, so what if you wanted to start your own blockchain and you don't want to hire 10 developers and you don't want to, rethink something, rebuild, like basically, do you want to reinvent the wheel if something already exists for you to use it? Well, probably not. So the cool thing that it allows for you to do is you can go in and you look at these frame palettes depending on what you're building. So instead of reinventing and creating a blockchain from scratch, it's called like Polkadot is thought of as a layer 0. So, and I'll get more into that later, but essentially what that means is right now, a lot of blockchains that have been built, they're built for, like Bitcoin was built for finance and Ethereum was built for decentralized applications. But what if you want to do more things on that? And what if you have other ideas that you want to build on, but you may not want to or need to use so many resources that already exist? Well, what it allows you to do is essentially go to this repository / library and start taking out code that's already pre-written so you can use it to create your own blockchain. And that's something that is really interesting and makes it more accessible for developers to use. And this is an example. So like Akala, it's a DeFi application. And let's say, you can't really see it that well, but essentially what's the point of an exchange? The point of an exchange is for you to convert one currency into another. But then you also may want to have a savings account on that exchange. So it gives you interest, right? Like we have in DeFi. So that's the thing. If you want to build different aspects on these applications, you absolutely can. And that's what the Substrate palettes allow you to do. Whether you want to, and that's the thing about Polkadot has different layer blockchains that created different applications. And then so we have the layer 0, and then you have the layer 1, which is the parachains. And we're going to get more into that. So Akala is a parachain. It's a DeFi application. And then off of it, it's actually, there's other projects that if people have ideas, they can provide them funding. And we'll get into how parachain auctions work and then how they incentivize community to build on them. So that's coming up later. So what is the relay chain anyway, and how does it work? What's a full, what's a sharded blockchain? Well, look, it's basically saying I have the security of a network that's running in parallel to transactions, okay? So here I am, and I want to just do NFTs, and my blockchain is specialized as an NFT marketplace. But at the end of the day, I want to have a very secure blockchain. It's kind of like all these parachains then can also intercommunicate between each other. So right now, there's a lot of things that are disjointed in the community, and what Polkadot does, it's allowing basically for the intercommunication between these different blockchains. So I build an NFT blockchain, and one person builds a game and the other person builds DeFi. Well, I can go to one blockchain and store my money. I can go to another one and play a game, and I have another one with an NFT, but how are they going to be able to talk to each other? Well, it's expensive now, let me tell you, but with Polkadot, it's not. So you can basically take your money and move it. Gavin Wood, they just had a conference, Decoded, I believe it was about a month ago. And that's where they said, hey guys, by the way, if you're running a full node, the thing is all the nodes on the Polkadot blockchain are actually aware of each other. So you can actually have communication between one blockchain and the other, and that currently doesn't exist in other blockchains. So this is a really cool thing. Now I know Ethereum scaling, and it's allowing for different things to happen as well, but we're gonna touch on WebAssembly and EVM, what that all means. But to give you an idea, it's just basically making it very simple for you to use different things from different places and as a user not even be aware of it. You're just playing a game and you're taking your money from here, or you have an NFT and you're like, I'm selling it, but I want to put it somewhere else. Or I want to take my NFT and I want to borrow against it. I can move my NFT from one blockchain and put on another and now borrow cash against it. That's a really cool thing. So that's why I'm excited about it. And so what are the different components of Polkadot? How is it different from other blockchains? So essentially what it is like collators are full nodes. So these people have every single transaction from the beginning. And then we have validators. So the collators take the transactions that are coming from the different parachains and they move it up to the validators. And then the validators actually finalize the block. So it's kind of like think of it like an open block. Then for all these transactions come in, they get grouped. The validator then says yay or nay, and then it gets added to the blockchain. But the thing is, what it is that you have a secure relay chain that's running, and in parallel, you have these parachains running, and they can intercommunicate, but they have the security of the relay chain behind that. So everything has a purpose. Instead of just, you have one blockchain and it specializes in everything, like you have on Ethereum. No. Here we have, it's like, think about like different tribes. Everybody's doing something different, but at the end, we all have a consensus algorithm. That's the relay chain. And there's, fishermen, they monitor, like, is there any bad actors? Are any of these nodes trying to cheat? We have these validators, what they do, what's the purpose of DOT, you may ask? Well, people who own DOT can actually, bond their DOT and start validating transactions on the blockchain, and that's how they can make money. But if they're not acting in good faith, that money will be slashed, and then that money gets returned back into the ecosystem through the form of a treasury, and it can be used for different projects, such as sponsoring this event, for example. So that's what they do. And the nominators are basically like any one of you can go in and become a nominator for a validator, and you're like, I see this person's going to give me this % back on my investment in DOT. I can see how well they've been performing. I can see what they've been doing. Are they taking any bad actions? I can select them, and I can get also a return on investment. So those are the different actors within that ecosystem. And here's kind of an idea of like, you can see the collators. They're the ones that are basically taking all the transactions, sending up the block to the validators, and then finally that block is added to the relay chain. And so what's EVM and what's WebAssembly? Well, essentially, since I mentioned earlier, think about it like this. You're on your computer and you want an update, right? We all have computers and we have to get these updates all the time. Even with your phone, we all have to get these updates, right? Or things aren't running anymore. But the thing is, you have to click a button and say, I'm allowing for this update, or I'm doing this update. It doesn't happen in real time. But how can you have a blockchain that needs to have updates and can't do it in real time? And what is the purpose of having these things anyway? So one purpose of it is like what I was saying, if you have a governance structure and you need changes to be done on your system in real time, because you've all voted and said, yes, I want this, then this is what, and we all agree this is what happens. But at the same time, if you're running smart contracts, it's actually also very important. So if I have a smart contract and I'm doing it and it's one piece of it has already been executed, then everybody on the network also has to know this information. Because if they don't, how are we going to move forward? So another part of this is like for Ethereum, the Ethereum virtual machine, it's basically converting all this complicated information from the blockchain into bite-sized information that can then be processed. And so people know the state of the information from moment to moment to moment. It's like, think of it like screenshots. I'm going from screen to screen to screen to screen, but it's happening very quickly. But I need it because I need to see the change in state. So it's like our computers do it for us, but because the blockchain doesn't really live in one place, it lives in several computers. So it's like all these computers having the agreement that this actually happened, this has transpired. So and from this moment, A owned this, but in B, this person actually owns that. And do we all agree that that's the truth? So it's another very essential part of what this is. But the reason Polkadot decided to use WebAssembly is because it wants the user at the end of the day when you're using something to make it very simple for you to view and interact with and quick when you're using a browser. So if I'm on a browser and let's say I want to play a game, well, what's the fastest way for me to do it? If I don't have to install an app, if I don't have to do anything, if I have very little work and I just enter a page, but that's actually serving as an application on the front end, it makes it very fast to do that. So, a lot of people may not have the internet we have here and they want to participate. This allows them to end up getting the entry to that. And I'll let Justin describe the difference between Polkadot and Kusama.
Yeah, so has anyone heard of Kusama? Yes, no? Kusama, has anyone heard of Kusama? What is it? Uh-huh. Okay. Hey, that's a start. Anyone else heard of Kusama? Knows what it is? Okay. So Kusama is actually what we refer to as a live test net for Polkadot. So most of these blockchains will have test nets. So Ethereum has Rinkeby, for example, right? Polkadot also has a test net called Rococo, where we'll go on and we can test all of these use cases, right? And the tokens and the trading have no value, right? But Kusama, initially, people thought didn't have value. So they were issuing out all of these tokens for Kusama. And then during a bull run, this token went up to $600, right? Where essentially it was originally supposed to be no value, zero value, right? So now, current state, Kusama is what we refer to as a live test net. So at this point, most projects will go on and do parachain auctions on Kusama, and they will test and push the boundaries of use cases before they go on to Polkadot. Right? So they'll go on Kusama first, test all these use cases out, and then do another parachain auction, and then go on to Polkadot. Now, some projects, like let's just say some projects that are R&D type projects, they'll just stay on Kusama. They won't go over to Polkadot. But then we've also seen other projects where they don't even go on Kusama and they go straight to Polkadot, right? So depending on the use case, sometimes you'll go from Kusama to Polkadot. Sometimes you'll stay on Kusama. And in other cases, you'll go straight to Polkadot and not really do a parachain slot for Kusama. Does that make sense? Okay. Kind of confusing, right? Yeah, so that's where we're at current state, but me, based on based on what we see, once those institutional investors, once the regulators, I'm from the US, once the regulators from the US understand what the heck is going on, and they start passing laws for stable coins and DeFi and things like that, then the large organizations are going to come in, right? Now, Polkadot is built on security. Kusama is looser. Kusama's motto is expect chaos. We essentially want to break, we want to try to break Kusama. That way we see what issues are arising in Kusama before we go into Polkadot, right? So some of these institutional investors will go on Kusama for a short amount of time before they go on to Polkadot, right? And then some will let all of these projects, these 100 projects on Kusama, try to break things. We fix it and say, okay, yeah, they tested enough. We're going to start the Polkadot, right? So Polkadot is big on security. It's big on governance. And with blockchain, any blockchain, the larger the blockchain becomes, the more secure it becomes, right? Because you have all these nodes joining the blockchains. These nodes are individuals just like you all in this room. You can have a node in your house, you can have a node in your apartment, right? I have nodes in the US. You have nodes in Canada. It's decentralized. So all of us, we're in the network, right? If we see some malicious acts occur on a Polkadot blockchain, or if we saw on a blockchain, we say, hey, Jack, this doesn't look right, right? So that means the more decentralized it is, the more secure it becomes. And going back to what Justina says, now we have these validators that say, no. Before that block gets approved to the blockchain, right? So that's where Polkadot comes in. Now, yes, Kusama is essentially built the exact same way, but there's more nodes on Polkadot. Because people say, okay, Polkadot's the live net. I'm gonna go on a live net as opposed to the testnet. But crazy people like me, we're gonna go on a Kusama because we're gonna test the boundaries. So that's why I'm a fan of Polkadot, because you have that R&D aspect, if you will, without being a true testnet. Because if you're a testnet like Rinkeby, there's no incentive for people to actually test. There's no incentive for people to go on. There's no incentive for people to go on to Rinkeby and test 8.0 right now, right? But on Kusama, there's incentive for these projects to have people go on, test. So BitCountry, we're big in BitCountry, right? A metaverse on Polkadot. So now they actually have a test net on Kusama. So now they have people going in, testing out, trying to break their metaverse. And if people find an issue within BitCountry, BitCountry rewards those people in the test net, right? So that's why Kusama is very important. It's very important from a live testnet perspective, a canary network perspective. Does that make sense? Did I lose anybody? No? Okay, I like to see that. Please don't let me, because it took me a long time to understand this stuff. I'm just telling you all this stuff now. You want to have anything?
No, that's good. I think you covered it.
So I know that you said that you participated in the parachain slots. Anybody else have heard of parachains? All right, what's parachain? I'm quizzing the heck out of you. You're gonna hate me sitting in the front.
It's just the way the consensus mechanism.
Yeah. Anybody else have a parachain? Okay. So just to run up here real quick. So if you look on the right-hand side, you can't see it. Horrible representation. But if you can see the right-hand side, if you see these gray dots, those are essentially what we refer to as parachain slots. So originally, the vision was that the polka dot relay chain, this layer 0 relay chain, was going to have 100 parachain slots. And if you won those parachain auctions, you leased a parachain slot. They were putting up $10 million for this parachain slot. You don't even get it for 10 million, just lease it, right? So you have all of these parachain slots, right? But then you also have what we refer to as bridges. And those bridges are going to be the communication from Polkadot or Kusama to Ethereum, to Bitcoin, to Avalanche, to Tezos. So that's why Polkadot creates that interoperability from blockchain to blockchain, right? Now, Cosmos is another blockchain. Cosmos is another, what we refer to as layer 0, where they're going to create this interoperability from blockchain to blockchain, similar to Polkadot. And we were speaking before everyone came in here, in that there are projects that were born out of Polkadot that are actually going over to Cosmos, right? So the reason why I bring that up is that in this Web3 world, there's no more competition. In my opinion, these are my thoughts, there's no more competition. It's collaboration, right? So the only way we're going to make it, the only way we're going to go up against Mark and Meta is if we collaborate, right? If all these projects come together on Polkadot and collaborate, and that's what we talk about with the cross-chain communication and things like that. And that's another thing with Polkadot, where all of these blockchains, so that makes that security more important, because now all of the nominators, all the collators from all of these blockchains are now participating in this network. So let's just say BitCountry has, 100 nominators. Now Akala is benefiting from all the nominators that BitCountry has, because all of them are on the relay chain. I like this.
What is the relationship? And I'm not 100% where Suma said.
Okay. All right. What industry do you work in? What industry do you work in? Entertainment? All right.
So just to repeat, your question is, what is the point of these parachains and how does it differ to Kusama? Okay, sure. So basically, to take it back, so what's a parachain? A parachain, basically, like I said, there's a relay chain, which is like the center that provides security. And what people do with their DOT is they get crowd loans from people in order to have a slot to run a blockchain on the relay chain. Okay, so you have the layer 0, and then this is layer 1. So my blockchain is getting the security from the relay chain, but I'm specializing it. So let's say in your instance, I'm creating a blockchain that's specialized in entertainment.
It's like universal.
But
right?
but what I do in order to get a spot, and this is what we're going to go into, is I'm going, so you see the network is like the circle, and then all these parachains are like the ones on the side. So like I have a slot, that's why they're called parachain slots. I get my spot, but in order for me to be viable to the community, I have to raise a crowd loan. So I have to market myself. I have to tell people why my company is going to do, what they're going to do, what's my roadmap. And then they have to incentivize the users to lock away their money so that they can build. So it's kind of like fundraising for your blockchain. So they give you the tools, like I said, with Substrate. And then after you get the tools, you create your blockchain. And then what happens is over time, you start building on that, and you also give funds to other people in your community to grow it further. So think of it like a Merkle tree. I'm growing, it's like a tree, I have a branch. I'm the branch from the center, and then I have other branches. So now I'm not gonna specialize in everything. I'm going quickly. I need other people to help me do things. Maybe they have even great ideas to add to what I have. So let's say for you, you're in Montreal, but then you have little pockets of other people who want to do entertainment in Montreal that are smaller than you, but they're like, I want to do a small event. Can I also get co-funding with you so we can do an event together so we can grow the community? Or like, let's say I'm doing decentralized finance. I have an idea of how to I'm onboarding users myself, but then another company's like, well, I can help you onboard users from this place, and we can make it simple as an app on the phone that connects to this. So it's like, how do I create these ideas to work together, but incentivize the users to keep growing it? So it's kind of like these other networks may not always have that. And it's basically keeping the company sharp, because basically every 18 months, they can get booted out of the security level. So they're always there. They have to be very competitive to say, what am I doing in the community? They're accountable. And it's all transparent on the blockchain. So now that I've built this, what does it mean? How am I doing it? So I guess we'll go more into that as well. I'm going to explain really quickly what's a para-thread, and then we'll go more further into what you're saying. But essentially, also for people who may not want to build an entire parachain, they can build a para-thread, which means that they go pay as you go. Like a smaller company, they don't want to crowd loan so many things, but they still want to have the security of the blockchain, but they have a lot less transaction. They don't need that much throughput. The reason these parachains raise so much money is because they need throughput. They're transacting, like a lot of users are getting onboarded, they're using this. But what if you don't need as much? So that's where you get a para-thread. It's like a system where you go, and then what basically Jeff was trying to explain earlier. So you see how the circle is, and then you see the different parachains. They have different slots for different things. One is connecting to other blockchains. You see that like line going out? So now that's me communicating to Ethereum. Then you look at another, the one at the top is basically saying that's a para-thread pool. So for all the ones that didn't want to or need to be at the size of an entire parachain, there's a space for them too on the relay chain to run the transactions in parallel. So I'm specializing in what I do, which is I'm only specializing in entertainment, while the relay chain is specializing in security, and we work together in parallel to maintain information and to maintain security. I hope that explained it to you better.
Thank you.
Did that help?
I have a lot more questions, but I think we still.
Go ahead, we have time, so the thing I was thinking about is. Huh?
Maybe, yeah, put it closer to your face and don't hold it at the mic, yeah.
What do you mean?
Hello?
What about now? What about now? Can you hear now? Okay.
There you go.
So, yeah, so from an entertainment perspective, I would say that like a relay chain would be like Universal, right? And then say, in order to participate in Universal, anybody can really participate in Universal relay chain. But I have to just put the money in, right? But if I'm a part of that universal relay chain, right? I benefit from the network, from the people, from the security in that universal relay chain network. Does that make better sense? Does that make more sense?
Yes, it does, but the example of Universal, these big guys coming in. More how collaborative are they as far as supporting this project? And
I would go more medium level.
right?
Yeah, so,
Really, I think my modeling for iPads.
yeah, so,
Great, do understand, learning a lot today, but I still have that misconception or hard to.
where the parathread thing come?
That was
Right
there.
here. So this is, and I had your same concern early on with Polkadot, in that you had to raise, like I said, tens of millions of dollars just to secure a parachain slot, right? But then because you had smaller people that wanted to participate in that work, that's what introduced the parathreads. And the smaller people can now participate using parathreads, and as Justina said, that's that pay-as-you-go model within the Polkadot network, right? Now, another thing we're going to talk about is the treasury. And with the Polkadot treasury, a lot of Polkadot and the Web3 Foundation wants these smaller projects to come in for more use cases. To be honest, some people are tired of NFTs, just saying, right? But with NFTs that have true utility in the industry, like for example, from an operations management perspective, from a law perspective, from a real estate perspective, That's the use case we're looking for, right? Not these pictures. I participate too, I admit it, right? But in this bear market, that's where those true use cases are gonna come in. So yeah, you've been in the entertainment industry, learn more about NFTs and how we can create true utility, true ownership with these NFTs and get away from these doggone pictures. Okay. What other questions do you have? I want this to be interactive. The who? Something?
The parathreads.
Oh, so yeah, parathread, so the parachains have always been there. Parathreads are newer. Like a few months old. I don't even think parathreads are new. They talked about them a year ago, but they're just and they're just now being implemented. Right? So yeah, the implementation of parathreads is fairly new. It's a game changer from a Polkadot perspective because initially there were only going to be 100 slots available, and then they introduced parathreads, and now thousands of projects are going to be able to come on to the relay chain.
So yeah, that can you I think so basically, but I think just to your point, Justin, and to your point, Julie, as well, I think it's also I think there's a lot of people who end up doing really good marketing and they're able to secure money from people just being in the ecosystem who may share the same vision. So I wouldn't just, shy away because honestly, I know that a lot, basically most of these companies that are on the Polkadot ecosystem, it's not like they existed before. It's people who had good ideas, who did the marketing, who ended up getting their slots, and then who ended up building, it was just a competition among them. But I think everyone should be encouraged to investigate, at whatever level you want to come in. I'm not going to say that everybody go get a crowd loan today, but what I'm saying is, look into what it ended up forming, look into what these companies are doing, look into if there's one that resonates with you and that you can get involved in that community. I know even Polkadot has Polkadot ambassadors. So if you're interested, you can check that out as well. But there's certainly a lot of things. But what I think is cool is for example, right now, I just interviewed a company when I was in Austin, Unique Network. So, to buy NFTs, a lot of these NFTs ended up being so expensive. It's difficult for people to afford, like a CryptoPunk, right? So what a company did is they fractionalized the CryptoPunk NFT, and that's one of the companies that's a parachain. So then you can just buy a fraction of that NFT through that company Unique Network, and then you can participate. So if you want to do things like on OpenSea, you can only fully buy your own NFT. That's what I'm saying. Currently,
where can they find that interview?
They can find it on the YouTube channel, Women in Blockchain Canada or SydTek DAO.
I've seen you.
So yeah, essentially, the other cool thing is that it will allow for even housing, right? We have housing right now. People want to buy a house. Not everybody can afford that, but you can afford fractions of it. But the thing is, on Ethereum, you can't just buy a piece of an NFT. You're buying that full NFT, and then you may end up paying $100, $200, $300 to $1,000 just in fees to procure it. So that's a whole different thing. And I know they're moving off of that right now, but still this mechanism of fractionalization, to my knowledge, and I don't think it exists on Ethereum today, whereas on Polkadot it does. So if you want to buy a fractionalized NFT, you can do that today, whereas it doesn't exist on Ethereum. So that's what I'm saying. These people come up with ideas and they're like, oh, this is what we're going to implement. And then how can we use even things like that for good? I know Unique also did a thing where they got artists that were promoting sustainability because Polkadot is we're more sustainable. How much carbon emissions are we using for running this blockchain? So you have to think for yourself, what do I align with? What works for me? What do I want to be involved with? Why is it working that way? So I think it's asking those top level questions and then deciding, drilling down on really what you want to work on. Like what Justin was saying, just to give you an example for you. So let's say people have an NFT that you issue that is once a year allows them to come to one of your events. That's the
Gary Vee.
utility for the rest of your life. They get to come to one of your events for free. That's, you know, like Aoki just did a launch. And what he did is like, if you bought one of his tokens, now you can get, if he has a concert, you may be able to get, you know, one entrance per year that like, it doesn't matter, you have your spot. You know what I mean? So what is the utilities? NFTs, like Justin was saying, a lot of this was a lot of hype, a lot of people entering. I think it's great. I'm just happy the mainstream's coming in. So personally, I feel like that's great. You want to be an artist and you want to do it and you want, this helps more people get into this industry. I'm all about it. But can we take it further and how can we do that? And I think the utility aspect is huge. You know, I think even,
What you just said, like
Yeah.
Gary Vee just did exactly what you said with VCon. You know, with the book games. So the book games NFT that he did. So yeah, so by the way, that's why those books are in the back. So Gary Vee said, if you buy those books, there's gonna be a special prize. So I bought like 24 of those books. And for every 12 books, you got an NFT, right? So at VCon, I could have burned that book game and I could have went to VCon. That's the utility. That's also the gamification to the NFTs. Same thing with the Bored Apes, right? Bored Apes went up to, you know, $300,000, $400,000 for the other side drop. But as soon as everything linked out for the other side drop, Apes went back down to 80,000, right? So you have that gamification, and then going back to the entertainment industry, last thing I'm going to say is that you can, so similar to the CryptoPunks, you can fractionalize music, you can fractionalize catalogs. Nas did it. Nas, the artist Nas did it. Tory Lanez, he's from China, right?
I don't know.
Tory Lanez. So Tory Lanez had a six track CD, or six track album, I should say, right? CD. Somebody had like, who's that? Anyway, 6-track album. Sold it for $1. Only had 1 million of it. Sold out in 40 seconds. He made $1 million in 40 seconds. He went platinum in 40 seconds with NFTs. But exactly. Yeah, but how was Tory Lanez discovered though?
It's not as simple for an artist as me that.
Yeah, but Tory Lanez was unknown until he got on social media, right?
There
Really?
you go. We can, yeah.
When did you start? It's I started teaching 3 years ago. I started teaching December last year, and had my first job in English. So it takes a lot of that's in the community.
But there you go.
If that's what you want to do, there's no.
It takes time, but you're free though, right? You're free. I said you're free, right?
Yeah.
You know?
So we learned.
No, keep going. Let's go. I'm curious too.
Well, we'll still, after the presentation, you'll have time to have the full conversation, but I think no further down.
Right there?
Yeah. So, well, can you hear me? Is the mic still on?
No, hold it down, Henry. It's kind of weird.
Is it weird? I don't know. It's off? Okay. Hello? Is it? Okay. So you can hear me now. Okay, great.
In and out.
So parachain auctions, how do they work? I think you guys get the idea, but essentially this is a diagram, right? So you have crowd loan and people putting their money in, and then basically what happens is on a particular date, they take like basically all the users that have invested at that time, and then the people get like incentives to do this. So it's not like you're just, so if you're having savings, right? You want to make sure that you're earning something back. So these companies, they incentivize the users, you know, through these parachain auctions So why are you putting away your money for us to build for this long? So that's why they have to come up with roadmaps and explanations and, community building and showcasing what they're going to be doing. So that's just to give you the basic example, but I'm gonna let Justin further explain like how they work, and I think then we can move on to other things. So go ahead.
So very quickly in terms of parachain, some of you have already participated in parachain auctions. So the parachain auctions for Kusama was very, very similar to the parachain auctions for Polkadot. The only difference is how long your DOT or your KSM is going to be locked up, right? Or bonded, I should say. So the one thing, so this is an example of a graphical representation that Kraken made up. Kraken's a centralized exchange for those of you all that are listening along. But so you would put up your KSM. So you can put up your KSM, and in some cases, so in the case of Kraken, you can also put up Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, or fiat, and then they would transfer that over to Kusama. And then you would actually deposit that KSM. You deposit that KSM then gets contributed to Karura. So Karura was the Kusama project for Akala. I know it gets complicated, but work with me here. Karura was the canary network of Akala, put it that way, right? So you put in all of this Kusama into this project. You contributed all of this Kusama to this project. Now, Akala was the first parachain auction to win, to secure a slot on Kusama, right? So then now all of your Karura, all of your Kusama is locked up for, let's say, 48 weeks. Okay, in this case, it was 48 weeks. Now, you say, why am I going to lock up all of my money for 48 weeks? And I can't touch it. It's because Akala gave you rewards, incentivized you to lock up your tokens to contribute to their parachain slot. So you receive rewards on that protocol to lock up your tokens. Okay. Now, again, on Akala within the Polkadot, it's very similar, but you would have to lock up your tokens for 2 years in some cases. All right. Now, even more, okay, why am I gonna lock up my tokens? I cannot touch my tokens for 2 years. So then Akala introduced what they refer to as liquid staking. Did anybody heard of liquid staking? Yep. Have you used it? No? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Not good in the bear market, but it's okay. But what happens is, okay, I lock up, let's just say hypothetically, I lock up 10,000 in Akala. I can't touch 10,000 for 2 years, right? So Akala introduced what they refer to as liquid staking. So now, although I'm locked up, I'm still able to use that 10,000 in liquidity, right? So once that 2 years, so I can issue out other loans, I can borrow against it, I can do whatever I want to, right? That's the power of DeFi. Now, once that 2 years is up, now I have to pay back my loan, right? Because I loaned against myself to play in DeFi, to borrow against myself, to pay my mortgage. Because you can pay. We have people who actually bought their first house using DeFi. It's crazy. It was crazy to build one. Anyway, so you can actually borrow against yourself, but you have to pay it back to unlock your rewards. Once that parachain bonding is over. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on that? So it depends, because some people, so for, let's just say liquid staking, for example, right? I'll lock up my Akala for 2 years, and I would get, let's just say, initially they would give you like 150%. It was like ridiculous. It's ridiculous initially, but the more money that gets added to the liquidity pool, the further it goes down, right? So like it was like 150 beginning, like Akala was like 150%, right? But as more people were contributing to the liquidity pool, it went down to like 30%. But where else you'll get 30% from, right? So yes, it's gonna start out at, 150%, but it's gonna go down as more people start to contribute, right? So now in the bear market, more people, you're gonna see more rewards because there's not that much liquidity. People are pulling their liquidity out of these protocols. So now's the time where you can actually get those rewards in those liquidity pools. And if you look on Uniswap and SushiSwap, they're giving out a lot of liquidity because if you're a liquidity provider on Uniswap and SushiSwap, every time a transaction is initiated, you get rewards, you get a cut. So yeah, DeFi is very powerful. And once the masses learn about DeFi, banks are going to be in trouble. Just my thoughts. Anything else?
Yeah, I guess for those who may not know, I'm not sure if this is working. I hope it is.
I don't think so.
Okay, it's all good. What I was gonna say, yeah, I think DeFi is definitely changing the landscape of how we do business in terms of finances. But to add to what Justin's saying, I think it's like such a nascent thing that I think we'll have to see what happens when it ends up getting regulated. But I think what's really interesting though is like whenever you go and participate at a bank, you don't really see anything coming back to you. Like in terms of interest rates coming back to you is very low.
Mhm.
But in terms of like what smart contracts and blockchain enable you to do is to get a reward through like what Justin was saying. Every time there's a transaction and you're a participant and you save and you keep your money locked up, you can earn money through that community. And I think that's amazing.
Yep.
That doesn't exist right now in our system. And I think that's a huge key, but also being able to, like, for example, like a lot of people end up like having their savings and maybe they want to keep their stocks and not sell all of them, but take some of the money out. You can't do that today. So Akala allows for over collateralized loans. So like if you have money put in, let's say, and you have 8,000, but now you want to take 4,000 of that out of the market, but take a loan against your own collateral, you can't do that at a bank. You can't have like $10,000 worth of stock and just decide one day, hey, I've decided today I need that 5,000 because an extra payment came in, I got to pay it off. And I know I'll be able to pay this off next month. You can't do that. It doesn't exist. Whereas like in crypto and blockchain on Polkadot, yes, it exists. I'm not going to get into everything regarding to DeFi because that's a whole beast on its own. But
the craziest, were you going to say something? Yeah.
How would someone who's like to get into DeFi, that due diligence we have to do and not lose your money and things like whatever happens is
Do not keep your crypto on centralized exchanges. You stay, that is true.
But
So-
so, okay, there's different kinds of DeFi. There's like one-to-one, okay, and then there's algorithmic, and then there's over collateral.
Yeah, stable coins.
Okay, so with stable coins particularly.
Mhm.
So the issue with Celsius is they over collateralize themselves. What I'm describing to you is like, you have to put in like 8,000 and you're only getting 4,000 back. They were doing like 8,000 to 8,000 or more, but except they took the user's money and decided to invest it in things that end up going down. How would you know that? I think it's about doing your research. I think
all
it's
about doing research.
yeah, you have to do your own research. I mean, I think we're gonna be doing a class on DeFi. So if you're interested in that, please follow us on that. That's our next
I
thing. We
tell
want to,
people, I got a PhD. I'll listen. I'll learn this stuff. I learn something every single day. Like I teach at Penn State. I've got 3.5 hours at Penn State twice a week. I'm listening on YouTube all the way up. And this is another important thing. I'm in higher education. The person in higher education that knows as much as, the people in this room, he started Avalanche. And he taught at Cornell, right? Anybody know who Gary Gensler is? He taught crypto at MIT. And now he runs the SEC. If you understand this area, you are at the foundation, you are at the beginning of this Web3 space. You're not going to learn, and you're not going to learn everything. You're not going to learn all of DeFi. I don't know all of DeFi. I don't know NFTs. I don't know blockchain, right? You're not going to learn it all. You need to find your niche. You need to find your protocol. You need to find whatever area. But the one thing in terms of collateralization, if you go to bendal.xyz, you can collateralize punks and apes. We can borrow, we're borrowing against apes and punks and things like that. You know, it's crazy on what things going to happen. And so I'm not sure what the laws are in Canada, but in the US, they're trying to stop the fractionalization of real estate. Once you start fractionalizing real estate, once you start fractionalizing apartment complexes and things like that, that's an absolute game changer.
Yeah, like
Right.
that's what I was saying earlier. If you can't afford something now, but you can afford pieces of it, that's gonna change how regular people can invest. But like also you said, you ended up being able to move yourself further by doing things on your own than by having someone else. But I'll let Justin show you. Oh, there's a. I think right now, it's happening, but I think they're trying to come up with regulations.
It's regulation. Blockchain is decentralized. If you really wanted to do it anonymously, these are my thoughts. These are my thoughts. I'm an American. These are my thoughts. They can't stop it. If you're anonymous and you fractionalize this whole building, how can they stop it? Right? Now, you could say, okay, is the police going to come in? Somebody can take this over, but it's just like a meeting you have at the courthouse, right? There's proof. Isn't a blockchain verifiable proof? Right? But again, that's whenever it comes back down to the regulation. How is Canada going to view that? How's the US going to view that? That's where we're at right now.
I think we'll save that one for the one we do with the lawyers.
Right, exactly. Not financial advice, not legal advice, right?
I think it's unknown at this moment,
It
but
is a big unknown.
I'll let you do the wallet. I think that would be good.
So, yeah, so.
I'm
go-
gonna get, I'll
So,
switch seats. You wanna?
Yeah.
because this is-
so within Polkadot, as some of you know, there's a number of different wallets that are available for different blockchains. Then you also have Coinbase wallet. You also have MetaMask, where you can add additional blockchains, within a MetaMask wallet. You can jump from blockchain to blockchain on MetaMask. The problem, not really a problem, well, current states, Polkadot has their own development in terms of wallets. Current states, you on the left-hand side, these are the Web3 developed desktops and wallets and things like that for Polkadot. And then on the right-hand side, there's also a number of wallets that the Polkadot Foundation has funded so that other projects can actually build out the Polkadot ecosystem. All right. So with that, polkadotjs.org. There's a QR code, so you can actually go on polkadot.js. That is the desktop, that's a desktop version that we use often. So if you go on polkadotjs.org, you will see the hosted wallet that you would have on the desktop, but then you also have an extension. So on the Google extension, we actually use that a lot. That's going to be that one. So if you have a number of different Web3 wallets, so that's the Polkadot wallet. As we said, we did mention MetaMask. It's the MetaMask wallet. You also have the Soulflare. That's going to be on the Solana ecosystem, and then the Phantom is also on the Solana ecosystem. So these are essentially your virtual wallets, your Web3 wallets. Now, once we go to this, so I'm going to click this one, for example, right? So if you click polkadotjs.org, this is essentially where you're going to see a lot of information in terms of Polkadot. Okay. Now, the first time you view it, yes, it is very overwhelming. But in terms of blockchains, they're very similar. But once we walk through it, I believe, in my opinion, I think it's going to be understandable. But as it pertains to Polkadot, if you look at this option up here at the top, because Polkadot is a layer 0, every project is essentially its own blockchain, right? So Polkadot relay chain is layer 0. Every single project, so statement, Akala, we talked about Akala a lot. We talked about big countries down there somewhere. A-Star is on Polkadot as well. So that's a parachain. And again, that's its own layer 1 blockchain. You can view it that way. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So since they're their own blockchain, since they're their own layer 1, then I could go on Akala and I could actually go to Akala's blockchain. All through Polkadot.js, I can hop from blockchain to blockchain. I can view all those transactions that are transparent to each one of those blockchains. All right. Any questions? Yep. So we went through that. So the nominators is essentially a token holder, right? And then they could actually nominate someone that validates those particular blocks. Right? Yes, they would nominate the validators on a particular on a blockchain. And I think if we go on the Polkadot, it'll let you know how many validators you have. You want to add anything to that? I don't know why this thing is.
I think maybe, yeah,
What?
because it has my account. Like, you're gonna make it, that's why I wanted you to use your.
All right, switch it. Give me 1 second.
You have like, right? You have-
Yeah, I got a burner account.
Yeah.
We're doing the switch because I got a burner account on here for this person for presentation purposes. All right. Yeah.
Launching a layer 1 layers zero, launching God. What do you
It depends on your project. If you're focused on NFT, so just hypothetically, if you're focused on NFT projects, if you're focused on NFT tooling, I would go on Ethereum, right? If I'm looking for an enterprise focused application like entertainment, for example, I would look at a layer 1 for scalability because I'm gonna be getting a lot of transactions, right? If I'm doing a number of transactions, I wouldn't look at Ethereum. Although Ethereum 2.0 is coming out, right? I probably wouldn't look at Ethereum. If I have a use case where I need a high level of security, I'm looking on Ethereum or Polkadot. It just depends on your project that you're working on, right? I would not build at this point, current state, I wouldn't build a metaverse application on Ethereum, right?
You're talking to
Excuse me?
You're talking to on the wall, Polkadot, blockchain, that is a lot lower.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you're making, I don't know, 20,000 tokens on Polkadot, it's gonna be the cost difference.
Fractional cost. Yep. And again, so whenever I say these things, because we don't know what's going to happen with ETH 2.0, that's why I'm making these statements. ETH 2.0 may change the game. We don't know. But I'm not going to speculate, right? I'm only going to talk current state. So again, it just depends. And so if you're doing an NFT project where you're going to be dumping 100,000 NFTs, you might want to look at Slime, right? You might crash it, but you might want to look at Slime. So it just depends on what the use case is, depending on what blockchain you go to. That's your question? Okay. So again, on Polkadot.js, you're going to be able to see all of the Polkadot blockchains. And then you can see Kusama, and then there's all the Kusama blockchains, right? So because it's a layer 0, you're going to see all of the layer 1s, if you will, right? And then you're also going to be able to see all of the, is there?
What's that?
What happened? So yeah, you're also gonna be able to see all of the blockchains on Kusama as well, okay? Now, in terms of this is Polkadot.js. And then also, if you go on to, so this is the app, the desktop app, but then if you go on a Polkadot extension, you will be able to download the extension either for Chrome or Firefox. So once you download it for Chrome or Firefox, then you're going to get this option here, where that's where you're going to add an account. So because I set up a burner account, once you download it, once you go on the desktop and you download it, you'll go to this little plus sign here. I can say create a new account. And then once you say create a new account, that's going to create you a unique wallet address. Okay. Now that's the public address you're going to share with people, right? And say, Justin, pay me. You're going to send me this address. This address, you never share with anybody. Nobody. Okay. You save that address. You can put it in the safe deposit box. The Winklevoss twins, they actually have their seed addresses spread across the United States of all their wallets, right? So if someone gets a hold of that address, they can drain you of all your money. So it's very important. I don't care if you have a wallet. No, I'm telling you again, don't share this address with anybody. Okay. So once you've tracked that, then you can actually save that address and say, I'm gonna copy to the clipboard because this is going to be a burner address. So once you save that, my address.
I'm not looking at that address. I would just. gonna
So
say-
once you have created that address name, once you use them in password, I'm a wallet's created, right? And then I could transfer money, I could send money, or I could deposit money how I want. Now, people ask, okay, you talk about setting up all these wallets and things like that. Where do I get Polkadot from? Where do I get Polkadot from? Anybody? Anybody know? There you go. Yeah. So if I go to coin, actually, I can get a coin market cap. Also, if you can type in CoinGecko, and if you type in dot or KSM, well, it doesn't really matter. So just for purposes, something I should think. Yeah.
The people online are saying if you can switch to the screen on the screen board. So, 1 moment.
All right. So stop. All right. Stop for a second.
I think you're, yeah,
There was an option to screen.
that's,
It says I'm reviewing screen. Oh, stop video. There we go. No, let's stop video. Where is it?
let me just,
Yeah, stop it on that one. It might be on this.
I stopped it. So do I make you the host then?
Yeah.
So how do I do that? Make host. There you go. There you go.
You're hosting. I don't even know how to share the screen.
Should let you know.
No. It's not that.
Try it again. You're the host now.
No. Is this me?
There you go. Click on more. If you go down, more, screen share.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
fine. All right. All
Excellent.
right. So if you go to, can you hear me? Because this is on mute. Or you can hear on that one.
They can hear it on this
You
one.
can hear the audio? Okay. So if you go to CoinMarketCap,
Or
and-
you can unmute yourself, that's better.
is that gonna be a? Yeah, but this is, if
I'll
you can
mute
hear me,
myself.
yeah, mute that. All right. So,
Yeah, that's good.
wait, is there a background? Yeah, there's an echo. You hear me now? All right,
You're, unmute yourself.
I'm muted here, and then I'm unmuted here, so we're good now. There was an echo last time.
Can you try it again? That way they can hear you closer. Let's see.
All right, mute it, please.
Yeah.
All right. Is there echo? See,
Oh, okay, I got you. Then go ahead.
all right, thank you. So if you go to CoinMarketCap, down at CoinMarketCap, there's an option that says polka dot markets. And then within polka dot markets, you'll be able to see where you can get polka dot or Kusama. Okay, so that's how you would be able to, that's how you would be able to see where you can get polka dot or Kusama from. Everybody good with that? All right. So does anybody have any questions in terms of polka.js and where you can get and how you can set up a polka dot wallet? Everybody good with that? Everybody understand of the importance of keeping those keys and not sharing those keys with anyone? Okay. So polka.js, that is the main wallet where you would set up for Polkadot. Now, in terms of mobile, oh, also for those, we're also live streaming in the metaverse. Where'd the presentation go? Wait a minute. Where'd the presentation go? Where's the Brave at?
That's more confused, whatever you have.
Oh, that was my, oh, my bad. That's- yep.
It's all good.
Did I have the presentation on there? No, it was on yours.
Here, what I'll do is I'll grab it and I'll send it in the chat. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so,
Um,
all right, never mind, I got it.
You got it?
So we went through the Polkadot.js. Now also a mobile wallet, a mobile option that you can use outside of Polkadot.js with this a better user interface is Polka Wallet. So Polka Wallet is very interesting. It's a good Polkadot. Again, it was funded by the Web3 Foundation, where outside of just simply storing your crypto, you're also going to be able to do staking. You can do staking, you can do governance, you can also do cross-chain transactions with Polka Wallet. That's why I like Polka Wallet. Okay, so anything that you would like to do within the Polkadot ecosystem, you can download Polka Wallet and do all that right there from that wallet itself. Okay. So yeah, so you can go to polkawallet.io and then you can do it based on the App Store, Google Play, or Android. And then you would be able to trade within the Polkadot ecosystem. Okay. Now, last thing is, once again, once you download either Polkadot.js or once you download the Polka Wallet, there's a QR code. Once you go to that QR code and put in your wallet address, either your ETH address or your Polkadot address, or airdrop you that free NFT. And once again, we have metaverse builds within BitCountry, within the Polkadot ecosystem. As you can see, like I said before, we're live streaming within Crypto Voxels. So we do a number of events in Crypto Voxels, and Crypto Voxels just has implemented what they refer to as token gating. So just tell people about the Women's Center of Excellence.
Yeah, so over the next months, I'll be building out the Women's Center of Excellence in Crypto Voxels. So we'll be doing events in the metaverse. Happy to showcase stories like yours. You know, what you did, what you're doing in the space, how you got into Web3, or like things like that. So women who are doing things within the space. So anybody who wants to also talk to me about that, we're gonna have our our break after this, but that's something that I'll be doing just so we can get the community and grow it and showcase these kind of stories,
Mhm. Yeah, so, so we're going to start to introduce things such as token gating, where we're going to have special events that work, because we work with a number of VCs, we work with a number of entrepreneurs within the Polkadot, Ethereum ecosystems, Avalanche ecosystems, where we're going to have an events where you have to hold one of these NFTs just to get access to it, right? So, to have, one-on-one discussions, if you have an entertainment type project, we can, if you have that NFT, now you'll have access to someone that can help you and mentor you, on those particular projects. I just had a call with SAP, if you know the ERP company, SAP, we're starting to develop a partnership with them where they're going to provide us with ad hoc consulting. So if you want to, even in the Web 2 world, if you're in the Web 2 world and you want to transition to Web 3, current state, we'll have resources to work with you from SAP to give you free consulting. So that's how powerful this Web 2 world is that yes, we are working with these large organizations, but those organizations that know me know that I don't deal with no BS, right? It's no bureaucracy. It's all about decentralization. It's all about democratization. It's all about moving females forward. It's all about moving minorities forward, right? That's the first thing I tell them the first 10 minutes. If they ain't digging with it, bye-bye. How you say it? Bye. Right. So that's what it's all about, because even those large organizations, they're seeing that this democratization, this movement, they're not going to be able to stop it. They're trying to figure it out, but those people that are building, we went to NFT NYC. You had the Universals, you had the Coca-Colas out there trying to figure it out. We're not talking to them. We're not talking. They're trying to figure out, because like you had the Pepsi mic drop thing, right? They made like I don't know how many millions of dollars in like minutes. What utility are they providing? Zero. So the only way this thing is going to move forward is if we do this together. It's the only way. I wanted the market to crash because that is going to allow for people to actually build. That's going to get the money grabbers out of here, right? You all here are here to build and learn. You all are going to make it. We're all going to make it, right?
Thanks, Justin.
Sorry.
All right, so I think we're good. I think we're done with our time. So I think I'm excited to interact with everybody who made it here. For those who want to get the QR code, we have it here. So please have a scan. And then, yeah, looking forward to talking to all of you.
Any questions? Yeah, we got some stickers in the back. Stickers in the back with QR codes. Yeah.
Okay. I think I have a question. I have also difficulty just finding all the abstractness of crypto to the real world. So like let's say for the colleague here wants to bring a new business. Are there any business models that already exist, like companies that are doing it really well, that we can kind of just like, hey, they're doing it this way, this kind of way. So you have any ideas?
It depends on on what you want. Like talk to us after the event and we'll find, there's a lot of projects out there. We'll have to see what you want. Because the answer is it depends.
Find that all this information is extremely complex. Extremely complex, and it provides kind of a barrier to the country towards no offense intended of authorities, where I should explain this to my mom. She would just like,
Yeah.
That's what we were saying earlier, like with WebAssembly, we're getting to that point now where it's like, it's gonna be a thing you do on your browser and it's really easy to interact, but given it's such a nascent industry, I think that's one of the things we're working on is user acceptance, user testing, user usability. Everybody has the same question as you, but I think given
Yeah.
the earliness of the where we are at, I agree with you. It should be that easy, but I think that's something that we're getting to now.
So Justine was on a panel on what day was Thursday?
Mhm.
So Justine did a panel on Thursday. I did a panel on Monday for this one event. And one thing that kept coming up was Web 2.5. And I believe that Meta, although I'm not a fan of Meta, I believe that Meta is that Web 2.5. I think that what the Meta Horizon, right? It's still going to collect data, but I think it's going to be the on-ramp for newbies to enter into the Web3 world. And then they're going to be more familiar with it. They're going to say, whoa, wait a minute. They're taking even more of my data now. Then they're going to educate themselves about it. Then they're going to go into the Web3 world.
But also to say that there's a lot of people in the developing world during COVID who were playing Axie Infinity and they just had to learn how to do it. I mean, like, it
Yeah.
depends also your need. Maybe your mom doesn't need to use blockchain today because she's perfectly happy with her life. But someone whose livelihood during COVID and they may not able to have a job, they're gonna learn how to do this. They're gonna, yes, it's cumbersome, but they're gonna go through the steps so they can feed their family. So it's also like, yes, it's complex and I agree with you, but there's also people who have found a way to do it because there was no other option for them. During the pandemic, a lot of people, that's how they were able to sustain themselves, is play to earn gaming online. And yes, it takes time to set up a wallet and it's not at where we would be with, like, you know, but you still, when you're going to a bank, you still have to go to the bank, you still have to put in even more paperwork. It's easier to set up a wallet than it is to go to a bank and go and show your ID and show the entire procedure and do everything like that. Whereas with blockchain, you could do it all from home. It's open 24/7. And there's apps you can use on your phone that are just as easy, if not easier than the bank. But I think it's all in our mind, how we have to, it sounds so complicated, but you don't now think about how the internet's built. You just use it. You just go online and you use it. And I think it's gonna get to that point where it's just like, we don't care how it works. What is it giving me today?
Yeah.
Can I do a play to earn game? Can I go online? Can I go and put in my browser? Good enough for me. I don't need to know the details. So I think it's great you want to understand the details, and we're going to do more seminars to explain the details. But for other people, it's like, okay, it's like an accounting ledger. I get that information, the information interacts. How does it benefit me? Oh, okay, I can go online and do part of my banking and savings here. Oh, okay, I can buy pictures here. Oh, okay, I can go and take an online class with you, right?
Yeah. So once again, shout out to Polkadot for hosting it, for sponsoring this event. So Polkadot sees the vision of community building, but other blockchains, they're like, oh, we need more dev events, hackathons, and things like that, right? We can build all day long, but if nobody understands it, nobody uses it, what's the point of dumping these millions of dollars into development if nobody's going to use it, right? I feel the project that's going to win is a project that creates the tooling, that creates the on-ramp for your mother to not even know she's on the blockchain.
That's exactly it. It's supposed to.
That's
be
the
so
winners.
easy.
That's who the winner's going to be.
WebAssembly is all about putting it on your browser. I don't need to know anything that works behind it. I just get to use it right away.
So, and that's another thing. You need to work. You should need to find some.
Oh, the question in the chat.
Okay. You need to find a dev to give your vision as someone is trying to get in, so you can develop an application to onboard the masses. That's the big thing. We're technical people. We see things. This stuff is simple to us, right? Devs. I have some devs call it my other business partner. He's a dev, right? He's like, Justin, talk to this person and tell him what I'm trying to tell him. I'll tell him like 5 minutes, like, said, why did you say that? That's why I put just number. So everything a lot of people view these things through a different lens, you know? Me, crypto is just one use case of blockchain. NFTs, just one use case of blockchain. There's endless use cases for Polkadot, for Ethereum, right? And you have to understand, the call to action is whatever you do in the Web 2 world, based on what you understand about Web 3, how is that going to transition to Web 3? Every single job in Web 2 is going to be in a metaverse.
I agree.
Every single one of them.
And I think it'll just become easier and easier. But with that said, I think we're almost at time. So is there anyone who has any other questions? Are we good? We're good? Well, I would like to thank everyone who also participated online. And this will be, if you want to have a recap of this, we are going to be posting it on YouTube. And yeah, very excited to interact with everybody.
Yep. Thanks again. Thanks for coming. All right, excellent.